Plaintiff Melissa Arnold says she tried dating the defendant, but things ended before they even got started. Melissa says she and the defendant had a lot in common, and she agreed to write his memoirs. However, she's suing him today for the balance of 3 unpaid loans. Defendant Roy Turner insists he and Melissa were never more than friends, and they were never intimate, despite the fact that she tried to seduce him by coming to his house wearing nothing but a bra and panties. Roy insists he was going to repay Melissa until she held his book hostage.
Start with you.
I met Mr. Turner on a bus trip. We were going to an Indian reservation casino in February of 2013. And we both have gambling in common. We kind of enjoy that. And I took a big gamble that day, but I lost. And I'm not talking about the money.
Gambled on him. You threw your hand up. What is it you wanted to interrupt?
Recreational gambling, sir.
Pardon?
Recreational gambling.
You had to interrupt me to say that? Now you sound like somebody with an addiction now. Nobody accused you or anything. Let me interrupt you. It was recreational. Go ahead.
Anyway, on the trip, I didn't really have any interaction with Mr. Turner, but on the way back, he sat next to me, and we started talking, and it turns out we had a lot in common. We're both from Belize, and his background is a little different in that at the age of 5 years old, his mom married a British soldier, and he was raised in England. So we started talking, and he said that he wanted someone to help him write his memoirs. He really had a story to tell. We have some background in common. I didn't live in England, but we're both from Belize, and both wound up here in America. I think he came about 2 years after I did. So we started talking. I was really attracted to his intellect because he spoke very well. And I thought, wow, maybe he could be a friend with benefits. I mean, I thought, that could be pretty good, except that he's not a friend and I got no benefit.
Well, it's good. You all broke up. Perhaps that was best.
Yeah, it actually broke up, I'd say, before it really got started. Because 2 months later, after we met, I loaned Mr. Turner some money.
For what purpose?
He was going to Belize to see his mom. He hadn't seen her in 32 years and also wanted to be there.
And he used the money to go?
Yes.
All right, let me hear from you.
First of all, Your Honor, we are friends. Emphasize the word friends with no benefits whatsoever. I didn't have sex with her. Never will, never don't want to. She came over to my house one night and just wearing panties and bra.
What are you talking about?
No,
Your Honor, that is not true.
You said she walked through the street with that on, or did she have a coat over it and have that under?
A coat over it.
That is not true, Your Honor.
And she asked me if I had condoms. I said, honestly, Judge, I had condoms, but I told her no. Melissa is very, very, very controlling, very, very deceptive, and hence that's why we're here. The loan thing is another matter which I'll get to in a second.
Did you borrow money to go to Belize?
Well, it wasn't a borrow initially. It was a. I was telling her about my
Belize.
trip.
However,
Belize.
all right,
Yes.
she financed it one way or the other.
She assisted. Yes, she did.
Okay.
Plaintiff Melissa Arnold says she and the defendant dated briefly, but the defendant insists they were nothing more than friends, despite the fact that Melissa tried to seduce him.
Let me hear the agreement on the loan and how much, and you say it's 3 loans. Tell me about it.
In April of 2013, Mr. Turner was talking about how he hadn't seen his mom, and basically he was dry begging, Your Honor.
That's right. You got that term from me. That's right.
And I felt sorry for him because I knew that this trip was going to be meaningful to him. I had been most recently about 4 or 5 years prior to that, and I was telling him it was a really good thing that he wanted to do. So after a couple of times hearing him talking about how he needed money, because I was telling him that it was very expensive. You go, you take money, and you have family, and everyone wants money. So you kind of need to take a lot more than you were planning.
You don't have to go to Belize for that.
Yeah.
Whenever you go home, that's just sort of what happened. So in April, I agreed to loan him $2,800. And this was from my tax refund that I had recently received. I know people usually borrow money and promise to pay back out of their tax refund.
You did the reverse.
I loaned him out of my tax refund.
All right.
And on April 28th,
when was he to repay?
He was supposed to repay starting in June. And the loan.
You say start, so what was the repayment plan?
$400 a week. Mr. Turner had a second job, so I felt safe in loaning him the money, and he planned on repaying me with that second job. And the payments were supposed to start effective June 1st.
And what did happen?
He paid me back $600, $400 in June. And before he could make another payment, what happened was that I had to pay 3 bills. And I called him and I said, when am I going to get some money from you? He said, this Friday. I'm going to get some money for you this Friday. So I said, okay, I'm sending off some bills. I need to make sure that you are going to pay me. Yeah, go ahead and do it. So I put the bills in the mail. And on July 8th, I got a notice from my bank that the 3 checks, they didn't bounce, but they paid through NSF fees and actually charged me $34 a piece.
So the total amount?
So that brought the balance up to about $3,000, and minus the $400 that he had already paid. But the other thing that I neglected to say was that when I took him to the airport on April 30th, there was an overweight luggage fee, which I
All
had
right,
to pay.
good enough. And you're suing today for $2,502.
Yes.
Let me hear from you, sir.
Okay, she mentioned earlier about the benefits part. Now, there was a loan. I will agree on the loan. There was a payback. But in the interim, there was innuendos of me taking care of her. I couldn't judge. I really thought about it, and my moral is a little bit better than that. I didn't want to have sex with this woman. She's a very nice lady, by the way.
Before marriage?
Well,
No marriage.
your
that's not a
morals?
story. No.
Well,
And as
how
far
do
as
your
the-
morals fit in wanting to have...
I'm in a wonderful relationship, sir.
Oh, okay.
First of
you
all,
would have
with
been
self.
cheating.
With self. No. First of all, I'm in a relationship with self, and I don't believe in having sex
You're
out
in
of
a
marriage.
And every other high schooler.
Well, you say him and every other high schooler. Seriously, sir, maybe you didn't know how you said that. You said, I'm in a relationship with myself.
I didn't say myself, sir.
That's what you said,
No, I'm in a
sir.
relationship with self, sir. With self. That means to be honest with you, Judge, I'm married.
Okay, well then that's what you're talking about.
And I would have
All
had
right.
sex. I don't do that. I just don't.
Well, that's what I asked you. I asked, were you referring to cheating? You said, no, I'm referring
didn't
to
hear
the
that part. I
fact that I
apologize.
have a relationship with myself.
I apologize if you heard
And
that.
I don't believe in having extra self relationship outside of you don't believe in having it outside of your self, because you will be cheating on yourself.
I was misinterpreted.
You're right, so don't cheat on yourself.
Plaintiff Melissa Arnold says she and the defendant dated briefly, but the defendant insists they were nothing more than friends, despite the fact that Melissa tried to seduce him.
All right, sir, do you owe her this money or not?
I do owe her to a certain extent, Judge. Let me say this, okay? In the interim of writing this book of ours, which I think is a bestseller, by the way.
And she was to write it for you?
She was the core writer of the book.
Gotcha, right.
Okay. I have evidence here, Judge, to show you that even with the core of the book, she has herself as the writer of the book. And
What does that have to do with this $2,500?
well,
sir?
what happened was she held my book hostage, Judge. She stopped writing the book.
Because
one has
she
nothing-
said, I'll resume writing once you pay me these loans? Is that what she did?
no. She
Exactly.
just,
What do you
What
mean
she
by
just stopped.
held it hostage?
She held hostage.
Exactly right.
If she had done-
Hostage to what?
Okay.
When you have something hostage, you have demands.
Okay.
So what were her demands?
well, her demands, sir, is for me to pay her money.
Right, the
Okay,
money you owed her.
Yes, true enough. But this book, Judge, would have paid her 20, 30 times more.
Do you have something that shows the repayment was based on book sales?
No, but what I do
Well
have...
then,
what I
no,
do-
sir,
what I
that's
do have,
enough.
sir.
$2,502. Have a good day.
We're going to continue writing the book. Money won't be in the way anymore.
She's a wonderful lady, she really is, and I'm glad that she's part of my book, of our book. And I love her dearly as a friend.